Welcome to the newest edition of How to Play KULT Divinity Lost. From the dark minds that brought you the long, strange trips of Manhattan, the soon-to-begin Manhattan 2, Heartland, the Experiment Podcast, and more. Continuing through Chapter 5, The Gamemaster, this tutorial focuses on scenes and Gamemaster Moves, which are both critical to the success of your KULT game. As you and your players build the story of your game, consider scenes as the blocks with which it is constructed. Scenes are the uninterrupted individual parts of your story that represent one place or a continuous moment of time. There are some excellent examples given in the core rules, such as a car chase on the streets of Manhattan, pillow talk between two-player characters, investigation of a crime scene, or a firefight between the PCs and some bad guys. Your story will have many scenes, and as the Game Master, you have the privilege of presenting those scenes, keeping track of time, and moving on to the next scene when appropriate. You will typically come upon these moments naturally when the story moves to a new place or time. Many times, a player will present the moment when a scene should change. It is always appropriate and usually welcomed to change scenes when not much is happening. If you are unsure at the time or concerned about negating player actions, ask them if they also feel it is an appropriate time to move on. If they have something in mind still to do, this is when they will let you know. Very rarely will any two of your scenes be the same, especially when it comes to setup and pacing. Perhaps you want to give a description and let the PCs tear into it. Or maybe you ratchet up the drama and slow down the pace with moves and threats. If you have concerns about knowing when or how to change scenes, focus on this. Begin your scenes focusing on some general impressions and notable details, and then let the PCs take the lead. They will almost always give you hints if there needs to be more description, information, or when it's time to move on to the next scene, which is what we're going to do right now. According to the core rules, the Gamemaster Moves are meant to create obstacles for the PCs to overcome during the course of the story. My favorite part of the GM moves is that unlike the players, Game Masters don't have to roll any dice for their moves. Game Masters can make their moves when they want to increase tension, when a player's move tells you to make a move, or when their actions grant you the opportunity to make a move. When you make a move as a Game Master, follow this sequence. First, describe the obstacle and ask the PCs what they want to do about it. Next, have the players describe their characters' responses to the event, which may result in rolling of dice or players making one of their moves. Lastly, the GM, that's you, describes the outcomes of the responses based on the established fiction and any player moves. As the Game Master, you must keep the principles in mind as we discussed in a previous tutorial, and describe the environments the PCs find themselves within. Obstacles can be any creature, object, or event that hinders the PCs from achieving their goals. Take a peek at Chapter 9 in the core rules. The section on threats provides inspiration, as well as the descriptions of the moves themselves. The Game Master's moves are sometimes described as hard moves or soft moves, the difference being based on factors like impact and whether the PCs can prevent it or not. Soft moves have consequences that are preventable. Hard moves have consequences that are not preventable. Hard moves are often follow-up consequences to a player's reaction to a soft move. However, a soft move can follow up a soft move. Be aware of how you are distributing your moves, and remember to keep the principles and fiction in mind. The standard moves available to Game Masters are available in the core rules, beginning on page 150. Separate them. You can split the PCs from each other or their allies. Capture someone. It's a classic move. Put someone in a bad spot by creating the obstacle and applying pressures of time or circumstance. Exchange harm for harm. As your threat takes harm, they can deal harm. Think of Gandalf and the Balrog for an extreme example. Announce off-scene problems. Announce future problems, or simply deal damage. You could reduce their stability. You can take their stuff. My favorite is giving them possible consequences and then having them make the choice. Or offer up an opportunity that may or may not come with a price. Turning their moves against them is another great move, as is making a threat move. Let's not forget the NPCs, right? In the core rules, Book 3, The Truth, describes the various realms of KULT. Well, the ones we know about. And there are moves available to you that are specific to those realms. You will have different moves available to you in the realm of madness as you would have available in Limbo. And of course, there are moves available to you through the use of disadvantages and hold. Remember, after every move, ask the player, "What do you do?" and give them the chance to respond to your move. It will keep your players immersed in the fiction and gives them the opportunity to help steer the fiction. A few more things to consider as a game master. Describing minor details makes the world feel more real. The devil truly is in the details. Let's not leave them out. But zoom out and zoom in. Don't be afraid of describing an entire day or moving forward months in time. Time passes, and this can benefit your story and make the world feel real. Time does pass, and consequences are sometimes dealt much later after the cause. Share the spotlight between all of the players and take breaks to contemplate until you're ready to move on again. Rushed fiction is never the right fiction. Take a moment, however long or short, but consider everything and then make your move. Using scenes and moves will be very critical to the success of your game and keeping the players immersed within it, loving the obstacles you put in their path as they are drenched within the worlds of KULT Divinity Lost. Thank you, Helmgas, for producing this wonderfully dark game and enduring my madness while I produce this content. If you liked this video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe button. Don't forget to click the little bell icon so you know when the next part in this series becomes available. please visit KULTDivinityLost.com for resources and links to game materials.